The soft hum of a gentle breeze fills the air, accompanied by the faint rustling of leaves in the trees. The distant calls of birds add to the peaceful atmosphere, evoking a serene moment in the calm of nature. The music flows slowly, like a river, setting the tone for a journey into the deep, captivating history of Turkey. Welcome, dear friend, to tonight's journey. In this tranquil moment, let us embark on a quiet walk back through the centuries to the land of Turkey. Turkey, a land where the echoes of countless civilizations can still be felt, where empires have risen and fallen, and where history intertwines with culture, religion, and progress. This land, with its vast history, holds the stories of countless civilizations, empires, and peoples, each leaving behind a legacy that still reverberates today. From the Hittites who carved their names into the rock and the soil of Anatolia, to the Greeks who founded cities by the shores of the Aegean, to the Romans and Byzantines who shaped the course of world history, Turkey has been the stage for some of the most defining events in human civilization. We will traverse the paths of time from the ancient cultures of Anatolia to the splendor of the Byzantine Empire, to the rise of the mighty Ottomans, and finally, to the birth of modern Turkey. Our journey will pass through the grandeur of imperial palaces, the quiet dignity of ancient ruins, and the profound transformations brought by revolutionaries like Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. As we walk through the ages, let your mind relax, your body ease, and your thoughts drift gently like the winds that have swept across this land for millennia. Imagine yourself standing at the crossroads of history, where East meets West, where cultures have intermingled for thousands of years. From the hills of ancient Troy, where the gods and heroes of the Iliad waged their epic battles, to the bustling streets of modern Istanbul, where empires once clashed and new ideas arose, the echoes of history whisper softly in the wind. Allow these stories to gently guide you into a peaceful, reflective state as we journey through the rich and diverse history of Turkey. We will meet the towering figures of this land, leaders like Atatürk, who reshaped the Turkish Republic, sultans like Suleiman the Magnificent, who expanded the Ottoman Empire to its greatest extent, and philosophers like Heraclitus of Ephesus, whose thoughts on change have influenced Western thought to this day. In the quiet reflection of this journey, let us connect with their lives, their struggles, and their triumphs. Relax, breathe deeply, and let the history of this remarkable land fill your mind with calm and wonder. Anatolia, often referred to as Asia Minor, is a land that has witnessed the rise and fall of some of the most remarkable civilizations in human history. Long before the powerful empires of Rome and Persia, this region was home to a diverse array of cultures, all of which contributed to the shaping of the world as we know it. In the 2nd millennium BCE, the Hittites established one of the most advanced and formidable civilizations in Anatolia. They were a people of remarkable military and administrative prowess, controlling vast territories stretching from the Aegean to Mesopotamia. Their capital, Hattusa, was a marvel of ancient architecture and engineering, with monumental walls and imposing gates designed to protect the city from invaders. The Hittites, under the leadership of kings such as Hattusili I and Mursili II, forged an empire that would challenge the great powers of the ancient world. King Hattusili I, the founder of the Hittite Old Kingdom, is remembered for consolidating power within Anatolia and establishing the foundations of Hittite civilization. The Hittites were known for their ability to adapt and incorporate other cultures into their own, a hallmark of their diplomatic acumen. One of their most famous achievements was the peace treaty signed between Hattusili's successor, Mu'tali II, and the Egyptian pharaoh Ramses II in 1274 BCE. This treaty, known as the Treaty of Kadesh, was a landmark in ancient diplomacy and is considered the first known peace treaty in history. The Hittites also played a critical role in the development of the ancient world's legal systems, with their legal code influencing those of other civilizations. The Hittite code, with its emphasis on justice and order, was one of the earliest examples of written law and helped set the standard for future civilizations. Culturally, the Hittites were a people deeply connected to their gods and the natural world, with temples and monuments dedicated to their deities. Their polytheistic beliefs were evident in their art, religious ceremonies, and the grand monuments they left behind. Despite their power and achievements, the Hittites ultimately fell due to a combination of internal strife and external invasions. However, their legacy lived on through their influence on subsequent cultures. From the ashes of the Hittite Empire arose the Phrygians, another civilization that played a key role in Anatolia's rich history. The Phrygians, best known for their artistry, particularly in pottery and metalworking, contributed to the cultural landscape of Anatolia. Their love for beauty and craftsmanship can be seen in the intricately designed pottery, sculptures, and jewelry they left behind. One of the most famous Phrygian legends is the tale of King Midas, whose touch turned everything he touched into gold. The myth of Midas has been passed down through the ages as a cautionary tale about the dangers of greed and the importance of moderation. The Phrygians were a peaceful people, and their cities, such as Gordion, were marked by a sense of artistic and cultural flourishing. Gordion, the capital of the Phrygian kingdom, was a city of remarkable beauty, with grand palaces, intricate tombs, and impressive fortifications. The most famous archaeological discovery from Gordion is the tomb of King Midas, which was unearthed by archaeologists in the 1950s. This tomb, which contained a wealth of treasures and artifacts, has provided invaluable insight into the Phrygian civilization. Though the Phrygians did not have the military prowess of the Hittites, they left behind a legacy of artistic and cultural achievements that continue to inspire today. Their pottery, textiles, and metalwork remain some of the finest examples of ancient craftsmanship. Today, Anatolia stands as a testament to the rich cultural heritage of the Hittites and Phrygians. As you walk through the ruins of ancient cities and marvel at the remnants of temples, palaces, and tombs, you can hear the whispers of these ancient civilizations. Their stories, their triumphs, and their legacies continue to shape the culture of modern Turkey. The Hittites and Phrygians may have passed into the annals of history, but their influence remains, quietly present in the land they once ruled. This was the beginning of Anatolia's story, a land rich in culture and history, where civilizations flourished, fell, and rose again. The winds of change began to blow through Anatolia as the Greek world expanded across the Aegean and into the heart of Asia Minor. By the 8th century BCE, Greek settlers had established colonies along the coast of Anatolia, founding cities such as Miletus, Ephesus, and Smyrna. These cities would become major centers of Greek culture and commerce, linking Anatolia with the intellectual and artistic currents of the Mediterranean world. The Greek influence on Anatolia was profound and transformative, as it brought with it a new way of thinking, new ideas, and new forms of art, philosophy, and governance. In the city of Ephesus, one of the most important Greek cities in Anatolia, the great temple of Artemis stood as a symbol of Greek grandeur. This temple, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, was a center of worship and pilgrimage, dedicated to the goddess Artemis, the protector of the wild and the goddess of fertility. The Temple of Artemis was a monumental achievement of Greek architecture, with towering columns and intricate sculptures, all designed to honor the goddess and showcase the wealth and power of Ephesus. Beyond their architectural achievements, the Greeks in Anatolia were known for their intellectual contributions. Philosophers like Heraclitus, who was born in the city of Ephesus, challenged conventional wisdom and introduced ideas that would shape Western thought for centuries to come. Heraclitus famously argued that change was the essence of the universe, a concept that would influence later thinkers such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Greek philosophy, with its focus on reason, logic, and the search for truth, became a defining feature of the Greek colonies in Anatolia. The Greeks brought with them the idea of democracy, a political system that would later be adopted and refined in Athens and spread throughout the Western world. However, the Greek colonies in Anatolia were not without conflict. As Greek influence grew, it began to attract the attention of the rising power of Rome, which sought to expand its control over the Mediterranean world. By the 2nd century BCE, Rome had begun to exert its influence over the Greek cities of Anatolia, and the region was eventually absorbed into the Roman Empire. The Roman conquest of Anatolia marked the beginning of a new era for the region, as the mighty Roman Empire brought with it advanced engineering, military prowess, and a new system of governance. Roman rule brought stability and prosperity to Anatolia, and the Romans undertook massive building projects, including the construction of roads, aqueducts, and public baths. The city of Aphrodisias, for example, was a major Roman center in Anatolia, renowned for its marble quarries and its impressive buildings, including a large theater, temples, and a stadium. The Romans also introduced new architectural styles, blending Greek and Roman traditions to create monumental public structures. At the heart of the Roman Empire in Anatolia was the city of Pergamon, known for its Acropolis, which housed the impressive altar of Zeus, one of the great masterpieces of Hellenistic art. Pergamon became a center of culture and learning, attracting scholars and artists from across the empire. Roman rule in Anatolia was also marked by the rise of Christianity, as the region became an important center for the spread of Christian teachings. The Apostle Paul, one of the most significant figures in the early Christian church, traveled extensively throughout Anatolia, spreading the message of Christianity to the people of the region. By the 4th century CE, under the reign of Emperor Constantine, the Roman Empire officially adopted Christianity as the state religion, and Constantinople, modern-day Istanbul, became the capital of the Eastern Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire. The city's transformation into a Christian capital marked the beginning of a new era for Anatolia, as Byzantine culture, art, and religion flourished in the region. The arrival of Rome and Greece in Anatolia left an indelible mark on the region. Greek philosophy, Roman engineering, and Christianity would all play a crucial role in shaping the future of Anatolia and the world. As you walk through the ruins of Ephesus, Pergamon, and other ancient cities, you can hear the whispers of the philosophers, warriors, and emperors who once called this land home. Their influence continues to resonate today, as the legacy of ancient Greece and Rome lives on in the culture, art, and philosophy of the modern world. The rise of the Ottoman Empire marks one of the most fascinating chapters in world history, as a small principality in Anatolia transformed into a vast empire that spanned 3 continents. Founded by Osman I in the late 13th century, the Ottomans rose from the ashes of the Seljuk Empire, a Turkish dynasty that had ruled much of Anatolia before succumbing to the Mongol invasions. Osman I, a visionary leader, united the Turkish tribes of Anatolia and began the expansion of what would become one of the greatest empires in history. Under Osman's descendants, the Ottomans expanded their territories into the Byzantine Empire, and by the mid-15th century, they had captured Constantinople, the jewel of the Eastern Roman Empire. In 1453, Sultan Mehmed II, also known as Mehmed the Conqueror, led the Ottoman forces in the siege of Constantinople. The city, which had stood for over a millennium as the heart of the Byzantine Empire, fell after a fierce battle. Mehmed's conquest of Constantinople was a monumental event in history, signaling the end of the Byzantine Empire and the rise of the Ottoman Empire as a dominant power in the Mediterranean world. Following the fall of Constantinople, Mehmed II undertook an ambitious program of urban reconstruction, turning the city into the imperial capital of the Ottoman Empire and renaming it Istanbul. The city became a melting pot of cultures, where East met West, and where scholars, artisans, and merchants from across the empire gathered to contribute to the empire's growth. The golden age of the Ottoman Empire arrived during the reign of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, the 10th and longest reigning sultan of the empire. Suleiman is remembered for his military conquests, legal reforms, and patronage of the arts. Under his leadership, the Ottoman Empire reached the peak of its territorial expansion, stretching from the Balkans in the west to Mesopotamia in the east, and from Egypt in the south to the Caucasus in the north. Suleiman was not only a military leader, but also a lawgiver. He reformed the Ottoman legal system, establishing a set of laws known as the Kanun that governed both civil and criminal matters. The legal reforms of Suleiman were instrumental in consolidating the empire's power, ensuring justice and order throughout the vast territories the Ottomans controlled. Suleiman's reign also saw the flourishing of Ottoman culture. The arts, architecture, and literature thrived, with the sultans commissioning beautiful palaces, mosques, and bridges, which still stand as symbols of the empire's grandeur. One of the most famous examples of Ottoman architecture is the Süleymaniye Mosque in Istanbul, designed by the great architect Sinan. The mosque, with its grand dome and soaring minarets, is a masterpiece of Ottoman architecture and an enduring symbol of the empire's power and beauty. The Ottoman Empire's golden age was not solely defined by military conquest and architectural splendor. it was also a period of intellectual and artistic achievements. Suleiman himself was a patron of the arts, and his court became a center of poetry, music, and calligraphy. Ottoman literature reached its zenith during this period, with poets like Baki and Fuzuli composing works that are still celebrated today. The empire's wealth, drawn from its control of trade routes between Europe, Asia, and Africa, allowed it to become one of the most prosperous empires in the world. However, like all empires, the Ottomans faced challenges. By the late 17th century, internal strife, economic difficulties, and external pressures began to erode the empire's power. The empire's vast size made it increasingly difficult to govern effectively, and the decline of Ottoman military might begin to show in its losses in wars with European powers such as Austria and Russia. Despite these challenges, the Ottomans continued to be a major player on the world stage well into the 19th century. The empire was a central hub of trade, culture, and diplomacy, and its influence extended across the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and North Africa. The legacy of the Ottoman Empire remains visible in modern-day Turkey, where Ottoman architecture, language, and culture continue to shape the identity of the nation. The fall of the empire, after the defeat in World War I, led to the establishment of the Turkish Republic in 1923, but the Ottoman Empire's imprint on Turkey and the world endures. The collapse of the Ottoman Empire was a traumatic and chaotic period for the Turkish people, as foreign powers divided up the remnants of the once mighty empire. For many, the idea of losing their homeland was unthinkable. But it was in this time of crisis that Mustafa Kemal Atatürk rose to prominence, offering a vision for a new, independent Turkey. Atatürk was a man of action and intellect, combining his military prowess with a profound understanding of Western philosophy and modern governance. He was deeply influenced by the Enlightenment ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity, as well as by the success of modern nation-states in Europe. Atatürk's vision for Turkey was not just a restoration of the old Ottoman Empire, but the creation of a new republic based on secularism, democracy, and national sovereignty. The War of Independence was not just a military conflict, it was a battle for the very soul of the nation. The Turkish people, under Atatürk's leadership, stood firm against foreign forces and the disintegrating Ottoman state. Atatürk's military genius came to the fore during the crucial battles of Sakarya and Dumlupınar in 1921 and 1922. These battles marked the turning point in the war, with Turkish forces decisively defeating Greek and Allied forces, ensuring the future of the Republic. Following the war's conclusion, Atatürk moved swiftly to eliminate the remnants of the Ottoman monarchy, declaring the Sultanate abolished in 1922 and establishing the Republic of Turkey the following year. The Republic of Turkey, founded on October 29, 1923, was not simply a political transformation, but a complete societal overhaul. Atatürk understood that the survival of the new republic depended on modernization and reform. Atatürk's first steps were the establishment of a secular government, where religion would be separated from the state. This was a groundbreaking change in a region where Islam had been deeply intertwined with governance for centuries. The Turkish people were introduced to a new legal framework based on Western models, replacing the Islamic legal system, Sharia, that had governed the Ottoman Empire. The new civil code, inspired by the Swiss model, became the foundation of Turkey's legal system. Atatürk's reforms touched all aspects of life in Turkey. One of the most symbolic was the adoption of the Latin alphabet in 1928, replacing the Arabic script that had been used for centuries. This reform made literacy more accessible to the general population, as the Latin alphabet was simpler to learn and more compatible with modern printing technologies. Atatürk's commitment to secularism extended to education. He introduced a new, secular curriculum in schools, focusing on science, mathematics, and the humanities. Religious schools were closed, and religious instruction was removed from the public education system. In the economic sphere, Atatürk sought to modernize Turkey's economy and reduce its reliance on foreign powers. He promoted industrialization with a focus on self-sufficiency, establishing state-run factories and industries to build Turkey's infrastructure. Atatürk also reformed agriculture, advocating for modern farming techniques and the development of irrigation projects to improve food production and support the growing population. The founder of modern Turkey also believed in gender equality and women's rights, long before they became widespread in many parts of the world. Under his leadership, Turkish women were granted the right to vote in 1934, making Turkey one of the first countries in the world to extend full suffrage to women. This revolutionary change empowered women, allowing them to take part in the political, social, and economic spheres of life. Women became active participants in the workforce and the political process, playing a crucial role in the development of the new republic. Atatürk's reforms also promoted the concept of Turkish nationalism. He sought to create a unified Turkish identity, one that transcended the diverse ethnic and religious groups that had existed under the Ottoman Empire. This was reflected in his famous principle of peace at home, peace in the world, which called for internal stability and harmony, as well as peaceful relations with other countries. Atatürk's commitment to modernization and his vision for a progressive, secular, and democratic nation inspired generations of Turks and became the cornerstone of Turkey's political and social identity. Atatürk's death in 1938 was a profound moment for the Turkish people. His legacy, however, lives on in every aspect of Turkish society. His image can still be found in schools, government buildings, and homes across the country. Atatürk's mausoleum, Anıtkabir, stands as a symbol of his enduring legacy, attracting visitors from all over the world. His principles continue to guide Turkey's political and social policies, ensuring that his vision for a modern, independent, and secular nation remains alive. As Turkey continues to evolve and face new challenges, Atatürk's guiding principles, secularism, nationalism, and modernity remain central to the country's identity and its path forward. So, my dear traveler of time, we come to the end of our journey. Through the rise and transformation of Turkey, I hope this exploration of empires and revolutions has been a peaceful companion on your way to rest. If the whispers of this land have sparked your curiosity, consider subscribing to our channel. There are many more tales to uncover as we continue our journey through the ages. For now, though, close your eyes Let my voice fade gently into the horizon and drift off to visions of ancient cities, sultans, and a republic reborn from the ashes. Sweet dreams.